Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of ASMG's Back Pass. League and US Open Cup matches featured this week, and the drama continues to build up and down each of the zone tables midway through the regular season. So let's get right into the action, starting with two midweek games played at Atlanta United's training ground. These were two games from Zone 2, which were rescheduled matches from earlier in the season. The first one being this past Wednesday between Atlanta United Academy and SSL FC, a game that was really close early on, but was blown open a little bit later as Atlanta United went away as 5-1 victors on the night. And it was quite an entertaining game, back and forth there. Soccer Saves Lives tried to, once they got behind, tried to push forward, but Atlanta United showed the skill and the attacking danger that they provide as they win their second game in a row in the regular season here, after starting the season with two losses, once against North Georgia United and the other against Scenic City FC up there in Chattanooga. But since then, they've really gone on a roll here and made themselves part of the title race there in Zone 2. But this was a great performance from them. Soccer Saves Lives. Maybe the score line is a little harsh on them, judging from the way they played in that game. But there's no shame in going down against a talented squad like Atlanta United 5-1. So that was the game on Wednesday. And then the next day, Atlanta United came around and they played LSA Norcross Pro. And won that game 1-0, giving them 3 games in a row that they've won with maximum points, and that's catapulted them into the Zone 2 playoff race for the title there. So they're right in line there with LSA Norcross and Potros FC, as the 2-horse race is now a 3-horse race. With 3 teams on 9 points. Now, Potros have 2 games in hand, I believe, over Atlanta United, as well as LSA has a game in hand over Atlanta United. So as these makeup games occur for all teams, we'll get a better picture of who's going to stick their necks out going forward. This was a very entertaining game, very closely fought out. It could have gone either way, and that late goal really was the only difference in there. I would not have thought of it as a bad result if they had ended all level, but Atlanta United did just enough to get ahead. Now, one interesting thing about this match, if you notice in the match, that LSA were wearing sort of a pink color kit, which is unusual for them. They usually are in blue or white. But this was a special occasion. It's something that's become a tradition. It's also one of the reasons why this game was allowed to be played in full. It's sort of a benefit that Coach Jose Mochila Galdamez has done, and it's based off of the loss of his mother to cancer a few years ago. And ever since then, once a season, he has a game where they wear the pink shirts, and this is in honor of those who have passed because of cancer and cancer awareness. But he also sells those shirts after the game, and he donates the proceeds to the board of directors in his old neighborhood in El Salvador, and it brings food and clothes and other things to the children in that area. It's a fantastic charity, and a great plan from Coach Galdamez's heart. And so it was really an honor to be able to carry this game for that reason. So just wanted to make that note there and explain kind of why they were wearing such an unusual color for LSA Norcross. But as for the result, despite the loss from LSA, they're still right there in that 3-horse race in the top of the Zone 2 table. So with matches coming up here in the next couple of weeks between LSA Norcross and Potros, and as Atlanta United continue to play, I think their next game is against FC Birmingham. We're going to see a lot more drama as we decide on who might be the zone champion and how the playoff picture is going to start to look there. So keep tuned with the results there. We'll cover as much of the action as we can here on ASMG as it gets really, really tight and exciting to follow. Now, if we flip over to zone number 1, there was only one game from the weekend in zone 1. That would be Georgia Impact SC against FC Columbus Elite. As you see here, the 4-0 victory for Georgia Impact. Other teams were having to reschedule games due to the U.S. Open Cup, which we'll cover in just a moment. But Georgia Impact, much like Atlanta United, started the season very slowly, but they've come back gangbusters here in recent weeks. Today was an emphatic victory over FC Columbus, who are back to struggling again. Wilfred Camden with a hat trick in this game, and along with Giovanni Delgado getting on the score sheet. But FC Columbus are back to struggling after a pretty impressive comeback draw against Kalonji Pro Profile a few weeks ago. They have not been able to reproduce that quality to get anything out of the season, and so they're kind of mired down there in the relegation zone at the moment. And they're going to really have to get themselves into a fight if they look to have any survival for the rest of the season as they battle to get out of that relegation zone to survive. So it'll remain to be seen if they can do that. But much like some of the other results, it would only take a victory to claw them out, depending on, of course, other results from other games. So things can turn around really quickly the way this season is going. All these teams are very, very close to each other, but we'll have to see what they can do for the rest of the season. Georgia Impact, like I say, now serious contenders with 5 games to go. So we'll see what happens in the Zone 1 title races. We should have a full slate of games coming up this coming weekend, and we'll go over that too before the end of the pod. So with the schedule being a little bit light in the league in both zones this weekend, we'll still take a look at the league table and see how the teams have moved around a little bit. We'll start with Zone 1. Of course, Atletico Buford, who were not in action in the league, but in the Open Cup, which we'll go into in just a moment. Still up there in first place, Pachuca, Georgia. In second place with the Georgia Impact right behind them on 8. Georgia Impact and Pachuca, Georgia tied earlier, and that's, as I said, head-to-head is the first tiebreaker. So after that comes goal difference, and the Pachuca has a better goal difference on the season than Georgia Impact, which is why they're in second place. Georgia Impact on third. Kalonji Pro Profile dropped down to 7, having not been in action again this weekend. But it looked maybe to have 2 games coming up, both Friday and Sunday. We're waiting to see if that Friday game will take place between Pro Profile and Pachuca, Georgia. Keep an eye on our social nets for that one. Georgia Revolution is there just behind Kalonji Pro Profile. Lost in the head-to-head tiebreaker to them earlier in the season. And then, of course, there's Georgia Athletic and FC Columbus bringing up the rear there. And like I said earlier, FC Columbus, you notice here, if Georgia Athletic cannot perform, FC Columbus could skip over them with a victory. So it's close to the bottom, it's close for playoff places, and it's getting closer for the Zone 1 title as well. So all to play for with everybody in the zone. And we'll look over in Zone 2 as well. Portros, of course, up there with Atlanta United and LSA Norcross Pro now. Of course, we saw that Atlanta United defeated LSA in the Thursday performance. And so they thus get the nod in second place just under Portros. And it's shaping up to be quite a finish here in Zone 2, with Scenic City also right there, eyeing a chance to get in that title race as well. So it's a madhouse there in Zone 2. Very exciting, especially for the neutral. And then, of course, we have Soccer Saves Lives, mid-table, FC Birmingham with 3 draws on the season so far. North Georgia United, struggling again. They did have a good victory against Atlanta United earlier in the season, but they haven't been able to reproduce that form just yet. And, of course, Dalton United, major struggles for them, much like FC Columbus in Zone 1. They're looking to try to turn things around, but it's not looking really good for them right now. as they look for a strategy to pull them off the table cellar at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do to turn it around. But that's the way these teams are going to go into the weekend of action. Should have a full slate of league games, but we're going to get into the Open Cup results with 5 of our teams involved in that in the next segment here. Let's do a brief review of the U.S. Open Cup and see how the Georgia Conference teams fared in this qualifying round. Now, we have 5 of our 15 premier teams participating in the U.S. Open Cup in this early qualifying round, and being regional, the games pitted 2 of the 3 games with Georgia Conference teams playing each other. The other match saw Athletico Buford drawn against ASL team Majestic SC, and Athletico Buford came away with a 2-0 victory over Majestic, with Carlos Chavarria scoring the brace. But of note, Carlos, I wanted to point out that he plays for the Nicaraguan national team and played for the World Cup qualifiers for his national side, as well as the Gold Cup and CONCACAF. So it really shows you the quality of player that we have in this league. You know, we often say it's a pro development league. We have amateurs trying to get to the next level, but we also have well-established professionals and national team players. So, you know, he's a national playing in the UPSL, which shows you what is on tap and why this league is so compelling. So, you know, congratulations to Carlos, not only for representing his country, but also being the difference in the qualifying round for his team, Athletico Buford, in this qualifying round of the U.S. Open Cup. So great result for them. They go on to the next round, where they will play, I believe, November the 2nd. I don't know the opponent just yet. I think that'll be announced pretty soon, but we'll look out for that, and we'll, of course, cover that here on ASMG. The next game that was in the U.S. Open Cup was Potros traveling up to Riverbend to play North Georgia United FC. Now, we've talked about the season so far for North Georgia United being very disappointing. They had the 1 victory already in the regular season against Atlanta United. That was a good victory for them, but they have not been able to do anything else in the regular season. You would probably look at them in the U.S. Open Cup as a way to kickstart not only the results in the U.S. Open Cup, but also to help motivate them in the regular season in the UPSL Zone 2. But they were not able to do it. Potros, still one of the most consistent teams in the Georgia Conference. They showed it again here in the U.S. Open Cup with a very solid 2-0 victory with goals from Kevin Ruiz and Stephen Raymond. And so they go on also to November the 2nd for the next round as they advanced on. And these games, the regular season games, of course, it's going to cause a little bit of a fixture congestion for some of these teams because their game on November the 2nd is going to have to be rescheduled. And so you're going to be looking at a lot of teams playing midweek to make it before the actual conference playoffs, which are midway through November. But that's great for the fans. It's just more football for us. And so it's great to see this competition to progress on to the next round. So that was Potros was able to get on. And then a game that was on ASMG, Kalanji Pro Profile, LSA Norcross Pro. This is a very much anticipated game. These are 2 teams that are playing in different zones in the Georgia Premier. And so Kalanji were not going to be playing LSA during the regular season. They would only potentially meet in the playoff if it worked out that way. But here we have them in the U.S. Open Cup. And I got to tell you, it was a fantastic game. It was great to broadcast it. It was a lot of ebbing and flowing in this game, back and forth. The momentum switched directions quite a lot there. Kalanji were able to play some of their young starlets who were have not been qualified to play in the league season yet, and I really want to find out about that because I'm not sure how fair that is, just because they're playing the MLS next. But Kaylin Kalanji was able to play in this game, and he got on the score sheet along with a brace from Zane Hilton, and of course Kareem Tamimi was a force there to better the 2 goals from LSA Norcross Pro, one from Carlos Orta, and a worldie from Xavier Diouf. It's going to be probably one of the goals of the week that we're going to feature this week on the top goals. So a great game, and again, it's even closer than what the score line shows here at 4-2. LSA lost against Atlanta United during the week, and of course on the weekend here, but they played well in both games, so they're going to be looking for a rebound when they get back to league play next week. So look out for them, and any opponent that's going to be playing against them, they're going to have to deal with a team that's going to be desperate to get back in winning ways. So that's going to be all the coverage we have for U.S. Open Cup for now. We'll get more into that in the coming weeks as we get closer to the next round. But first of all, we have to get on to what's going to be happening in the upcoming week in the league. So we'll start with the Zone 1 games coming up this coming week. And it's going to be some interesting results because it means so much in the different various races that are going on in the division. And we're going to start with a Thursday night game. Atletico Buford hosting Georgia Revolution. This is a rescheduled game. Atletico, of course, looking to consolidate their place in first place in Zone 1. Georgia Revolution looking to make sure they secure a place in the playoffs, but also with that outside chance at a Zone 1 title as well, depending on the results from other games. Saturday, Atletico Buford turn around and play again just 2 days later, going over to Otis Spencer Stadium to play FC Columbus Elite. FC Columbus Elite, down in a relegation spot, need a result. And unfortunately for them, they're going to be playing the top team in the division at the moment, Atletico Buford. But remember what FC Columbus Elite did against Kalonji per profile. They came from 2-0 down to tie that game 2-2. They have the tools to get a result in this game. And with the desperation of trying to get out of that relegation zone, it could make all the difference in the world. But it will be a tough and tight game to experience for them. So it'll be interesting to see how that result comes out. Georgia Revolution also having to come back and play in a couple of days, this time against Georgia Athletic. Georgia Athletic, don't let the league position fool you. They have the horses as well to get a result here. So Georgia Revolution is going to have to take this game seriously if they hope to continue to challenge for the playoff spots and the zone title. Georgia Athletic, of course, are looking to get away from the relegation zone and progress themselves up to a possible playoff spot. So they still have that as a shot. It's just up to them, but they got to start getting the results as soon as possible. A point or 3 points would be great for them at this station of the season. And of course, on Sunday, this will be an ASMG game as well. Kalonji per profile will be hosting Georgia Impact SC. The game itself will be on the UPSL YouTube channel, and but ASMG is producing it for the UPSL. So Larry Weaver will be on the call, and our crew will be there doing the production work for this game. It should be a very interesting game. Kalonji per profile, of course, looking to get back into the title race right now. They've had a good result in the U.S. Open Cup, but now it's back to league business. Georgia Impact have improved vastly, and they are more than capable of getting a result out of this game. So it should be a very interesting and hard-fought game to experience here, and we'll bring you all the action on ASMG. So that's Zone 1. If we go over to Zone 2, we have some very interesting games here as well. Dalton United FC on Saturday hosting North Georgia United in the North Georgia Derby. These are two rival teams, two teams that are battling to stay out of the relegation zone, to get out of the relegation zone in Dalton's case. And so this is a very, very important game for both of these teams when it concerns the relegation fight. And so and the fact that it's a rival just makes it all that much more intense. So it'll be interesting to see how that result affects that race. And and there's still plenty of games left for both of these teams to to get out of there. But this would be a good first step for either one of them to move away from that zone and possibly up towards a playoff spot, a long shot of a playoff spot. On Sunday, we have Soccer Saves Live hosting Scenic City FC, another ASMG broadcast. Soccer Saves Live's been playing sort of mid-table ball at the moment. They have a lot of talent, being very electric sometimes, but they had a heavy defeat against Atlanta United midweek last week. Scenic City have been really great coming in from Division One. They're already in a playoff spot, and are looking to stay in those spots by getting a positive result in this game. So tune in to ASMG and check it out, and we'll see if Soccer Saves Lives can maybe skip over and get into a position above Scenic City, or if Scenic City can consolidate their spot in the playoffs, and even with the outside chance of the Zone 2 championship. So lots to play for in this game for both teams. Potros FC is hosting LSA Norcross Pro, arguably the game of the weekend. These are two of the top teams in Zone 2. Potros currently in first place, LSA Norcross currently in third, just below Atlanta United on the head-to-head tiebreaker. And so it's a very, very important game for both teams when it concerns the title race. I think it's safe to say that both will make the playoffs, but the title is up for grabs. And Atlanta United is right there on their heels, waiting to see who falters and who they can take advantage of. They're going to make ground on somebody, and so it'll be interesting to see how this rolls out. That game will be on the Potros FC YouTube channel this coming Sunday at Marietta High School. So that's going to be it for the week's hot takes on all the action. We've reviewed the league program as well as the U.S. Open Cup. And before we go, we're going to have a word about our sponsors, who are so very important to the work that we do here at ASMG. So here we go. The ASMG Back Pass has been brought to you by Ballistic Sportswear, a leading kit provider for the UPSL. Creative and original kit designs of high quality. And if you're a serious UPSL team, give them a look to help you with your team apparel. Ballistic also supplies ASMG with our professional apparel wear. Also partnering with ASMG is Images Frozen in Time Photography. They're full-service photographers for a myriad of potential creative projects and services. Images Frozen in Time provides all of the match photography and video editing you see here on ASMG. When you need professional photographers, look no further than Images Frozen in Time. Thanks for listening in on the ASMG Back Pass podcast this week, and we'll see you again next week for another round of hot takes on all of the UPSL Georgia soccer action.